Hello everyone and welcome back. Are you ready for another video about macOS internals? I'm pretty excited, so let's get busy. In this episode, we'll learn a few interesting tricks. The first one is a technique to hide the name of a running application in the process list. And the second one is about an undocumented function parameter, only specific to Apple. Finally, we'll put the two techniques together. Let's start with the first technique because it's more interesting, and it has wider applicability because it's not something actually specific to macOS. We can find this technique in the Linux world as well. Let's see some code. Here, I'm using the execv system call to launch an external program, zsh shell. The second parameter to execv here represents the array of arguments. Very important, the arguments array is a list of strings. Worth mentioning, the very first element in the array represents the program name. This is what will be shown to the user in the process list. We could define any number of arguments in the array. Argument 1, argument 2, and so on. What's important is that the array has to end with a null string. The code is straightforward. Let's compile it using GCC and see how it works. After running the binary, the prompt will change, a sign that it has dropped into another shell, the zsh. To see the effects of that code, let's list all the processes. And then filter for our process name, which was hide_me, if you remember. It's not here, of course. But if we search for the fake name, this one is actually there in the process list. Nice! To verify that it's the correct process, if we terminate the zsh, the fake process should be gone from the list. Nice! This is a pretty neat trick to launch a process and then change its name on the fly to whatever we want in the list of active processes. The parent process terminates quickly, leaving very few traces of what's happened. I found this really interesting. Next, let me show you something else now, which is also good to know. I found the next trick on a very old mailing list, and it's not documented anywhere, as far as I know. We're all too familiar with the parameters of main function. First, the arguments count, then an array containing all the parameters passed via the command line, which ends with a null string as we've seen before. The third argument of main is an array with environment variables, which can be accessed via envp array here. Finally, there is something else here which is only specific to Darwin systems. Another array of strings called Apple. It looks like this is passed to main function by the operating system, more specifically by the loader, and it contains a few interesting variables. To explore all its elements, we can iterate through the items using a while loop and stop when we reach null, the known terminator. Let's see. Looks like I have an error here, unsequenced modification and access to variable I. Actually, it's a warning, not an error, and the file did compile successfully. Let's fix the warning and use it as an opportunity to discover something. It tells us that the variable I is used here and in the same instruction it is also incremented, thus creating a possible confusion. Let's fix this by splitting the instruction into two operations. First, we're using the variable for printing and then increment it. Then recompile and run. We have some interesting values here. The last couple of them probably are some memory ranges which we could make sense of with a bit of googling. What's interesting now is the first element of the Apple array. It represents the executable name, including path, as it was called. To put this technique into context, we'll run this program from the hide me wrapper we created before. But before, let's just add a sleep instruction here. It will be obvious in a minute why. Let's tell it to sleep for 60 seconds. 1 minute. We also need to add the corresponding include file, which is unistd.h. Compile and run. It should wait in an infinite loop, just what we wanted. Next, let's move to the hide me application we've written before, and instead of ZSH, use the Apple binary. A.out will be the fake name of the binary. Classic auto-generated name. The process list should be showing this name instead of the actual name of our application. I'll rerun hide me and once again check the process list. In the process list, it also shows as A.out exactly as planned. But we can see it run the Apple binary and the Apple argument array actually contains the real name. The real executable name, although we use the fake name in the arguments array. I really like these two tricks and I think they can be useful. To conclude, let's quickly go through what we've seen in this episode. We discussed a trick to spawn and hide a program's name from a list of running applications. We've also lightly looked at an undocumented feature of the main function specific to Darwin systems, which allowed us to retrieve the real executable name, not the one passed and modified via the argv array. I hope you like these tricks. Thank you very much for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done it already in order not to miss the next episodes. Cheers!